Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. FPL DevCop here. Today we're going to go through, as we've been doing for the past couple of weeks, we've been reviewing the preseason, how every different player and asset is performing, how the different teams have been performing. So today we're having a complete roundup because we've come to the end of the preseason. Most of the teams completed their preseason games yesterday, and now we have a much better, clear picture of how our team should be setting up. The deadline is 21st August, which is this Friday at 8:30 East African time. So we have a few days left, less than 5 days to go. Continue joining the FPL, continue to finalize with your teams, and let's get started. So first, we shall go through who have been the best performers in this preseason, and as it has been clear to everyone, Joao Pedro of Chelsea has been way up there. He has been having a great preseason. He has been playing in the number 9 role. He's been involved in the assists. He's been involved in the goals. He had 10 goals and assists combined. That's 8 goals and 2 assists throughout his entire games. Second to that was Solis, who we did see yesterday and indeed had a great impact, to having 2 assists yesterday in Arsenal's Community Shield game as well. Then obviously people like Buendia of Aston Villa, which is struggling, but at least he's one of those standouts and he's also involved in the set pieces as well. Calvert-Lewin, who's been in very many drafts so far. Evan Nelson of Bournemouth has also been shining with at least 5 goals and assists combined, and the list goes on. I think one of the best performers of Man City has been Semenyo himself, because Haaland hasn't been involved much in the preseason. I was actually surprised yesterday when he was thrown directly into the team, but you could clearly see he was lacking a bit of match fitness, and that was a surprise from the manager, but it was his decision to throw him in. He had a couple of looks, I think 2 chances that were well saved by Raya. But that is something that we shall continue to monitor, because we've been having conversations between having a Haaland draft and a no Haaland draft. And I think with my next video that comes out on Wednesday, you'll get to know which direction I'm now taking. And the list goes on. People like Igor Jesus, all these we're going to go through as we go through the different teams and how they have been performing. Starting with Chelsea itself, Palmer has been a bit underwhelming. Yes, he has been having a knock and all that, but still, like we mentioned about Chelsea, the top performer was Joao Pedro with 8 goals and 2 assists. Palmer did come through with just 1 assist, but I feel like it was really underwhelming from him. Rogers did play their last preseason game, and he's someone I'd looked at that I'd targeted even ahead of Palmer, and he looked very good. He did have a goal and an assist in that last preseason game, I think on Saturday. So the team does is still Alonso is still trying to mold it into his shape and what he prefers, but I think Palmer has been a bit underwhelming, but he's Palmer. He could come on the first game of the season and shock us. But for now, I think Joao Pedro uh, looks the much better option. Their defense is still something that we shall going to monitor as well. Obviously, there are talks of Enzo Fernandez going to Manchester City, and that's something that we look at as the transfer window continues as well. Arsenal, it has been one person, Solis, and he's someone that was in my first draft. Those that continue to follow the channel, I did mention him that I was on my tracker from the first preseason games, because I think on his very first game for Arsenal, he did score. Then from then on, he has been assisting. He has been involved in 7 goal contributions. That's 6 goals and 6 assists and 1 goal. Bruno Guimaraes yesterday also was also involved, and he looked good. But something about the Arsenal team is that they do have a big squad depth, and that is something that we do not know about the alterations and all that. But yesterday, one of the key things we did notice that their defense is still continuing to be solid. Raya was still very good. At least every time he was checked, he was always available and did come up with a save. So those that are doubling up on the Arsenal defense, that I think is a good way to go. Is a good way to go. Calafiori yesterday looked very good going forward, and he's in my current team, as you noticed last week, and it's something that we're going to monitor. He obviously did go off in the 59th minute, but I believe that was because the score was already 3 goals, and we were giving more chances to the likes of Hincapi and all the different other players that did come in. But that is something that we continue to monitor, because with Arsenal, like I've mentioned, they have a huge squad depth, and we do not know if even Solis, because yesterday we didn't get to look at Martinelli. So we do not know if that number is now completely solid for Solis, or that is something that we're still going to monitor. But come Coventry on Friday, I believe that is something we will look at. So for those that want to triple up on Arsenal, I do understand, but I would recommend at least double defense and maybe one of the attackers, of which Solis would be the standout. Man City, it has been only one person, Semenyo, really. He has been involved, I think, with 5 assists, no goal yet, just 5 assists. He played 4 games. but they did look very poor yesterday. That is something that I do need to mention. Arsenal looked way ahead of them in every form, in every shape, in everything. And I do know that Enzo Moresca is trying out something new with the new team. Obviously, with the losing of Rodri as well, that's going to affect them. Anderson, one of the main DEFCON people from last season, didn't also have much of a good game. So I struggle to see. Currently, the only person I did have in my team was Haaland, but even with him, I do not really see him having that big of a season. And for someone of his price tag, you would want to believe that if you're to own Haaland, he's going to go for the 20 plus goals, 30 goals, and at least he'll be a captain option every game week, which I'm not seeing right now. But like we mentioned, it was his first game back from the World Cup. He hadn't played any games since Norway. And we wait because they're starting off with Bournemouth, which I believe is also a bit of a tricky game for them. And for what I noticed, I believe they won't keep a clean sheet on that game. Donnarumma himself looked off. So I'm really worried. I'm really worried about this. And please take note because all of these things are going to affect or have an effect on my final team. Next is Manchester United. It has been a no-brainer. Bruno Fernandes had only one goal and an assist. He joined the team obviously like a week towards the end of preseason. I did play, I think, 2 games, but more importantly, is we're worried he missed 2 penalties, and which actually means he has scored 2 of the last 7 penalties he has taken. So I don't know if that's a cause for concern because they have not better, but they have other good penalty takers, including Tillemans that has just rejoined them as well. Mbeumo was taking them for Brentford before, and he was very good at it. Cunha, the same thing for Wolves before. So they do have enough options, but we don't know if that's something that's going to be reviewed. Because if he gets off set pieces like that, then obviously it does affect him in a way. But Mbeumo was the main standout for them with at least 5 goal contributions, 3 goals, and 1 assist. Bruno continues to be a standout, and I think he's the most owned Manchester United player. They do play a team that I believe we should all target, which is Hull City. So for those that are tripling up on Manchester United, I would understand to, for example, have a double midfield of Bruno Fernandes and Buemo, and then probably have a defender either in Luke Shaw or Maguire, who actually did score as well on the weekend. They lost the match to AC Milan. It was more of a suck up since AC Milan is currently managed by Amorim, their previous manager. So I do know the different Manchester United fans did not really like the showing, but that is something that we continue to monitor as well. And they do have a very good fixture to start with. So I believe the team, actually, their first 2 fixtures are really good. Yeah. Liverpool did also play its last game yesterday against Como. They actually had 2 games to Como. One was a draw, and the other one was a win. We had standout performances from Jacket, who at least did come up to play in the defense as well. Araujo also did get a few minutes also in there. So it looked a much better, convincing play in the second game than because they did play 2 games against Como as they always do in their last preseason games. So what we recorded here is the 0-0, but they did win another game, which was a much more better team because the first game had a more weakened team. One of the main performers, obviously, Dominic Soboslai, as most of you do have him in your squads, did look very good. Florian Wirtz himself as well had, I think, 2 goals in his last 2 or 3 games that he did play. Isak had a goal as well. We do know that Ekitike is out for most of this year. So I do believe Isak has that number nailed. I do not know if they are planning on bringing in another striker, but I feel like the attack is already bolstered. So I did expect more reinforcement in the back, which they have done, and their defense I think will look a bit better. Kakes with an assist. Kakes is a player who was managed by the current coach before in Bournemouth, so we do expect him to be flying from that wing much more often than he did probably in the previous management. Frimpong also did have a couple of assists, but his fitness is something we're not sure of. So Liverpool is really a team to be managed. I do understand those that are going to double up on Florian Wirtz and Dominic Soboslai. Their defense, I feel like, is still a bit shaky. We do not know who's going to be the defensive partnership for 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 Van Dijk, whether it's going to be Jacket or Araujo, but we wait to see, and even how they'll be partnering and all that. That is something that is still to be monitored. But going forward, I feel like yes, Isak is good, though his minutes may be managed because of him too also coming from a long-term injury. But at least we know he has not much competition in the number 9 role unless they do use a false 9 in putting Gapco or any other person as a lead. So that is something to keep on monitoring as well. They do start up with a Newcastle, which has lost a lot of players really, and I think is a team under rebuilding because even their manager is new and all that. Nottingham Forest had mainly Igor Jesus, who looked very standout with 4 goals, 3 assists as well. He has been playing with the Wood because Awoni has proceeded to leave and I think join Coventry. So that is something we'll wait to see if they're going to get in a new striker to support Wood, because Wood's injury record last season was bad, and even in the preseason he did get injured a bit and then came back I think for the last game. But that's something that we're going to monitor. But Igor Jesus, I think, was the main standout. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs White continues to also be impressive. He was the main person that I think we always looked at because he's always nailed. He plays the full 90 minutes. He's involved in the assists and the defcons, and as you can see, he was involved and at least provided an assist. The defensive backup, I did have Aina, I remember, in my first draft, but that is something to also monitor someone like Aina in defense to see if they will still maintain, because they always used to always look a very good defensive and good team. Spurs as well. This is a team that I believe is going to shock people because first and foremost, their new manager, who obviously came towards the end of last season, is a very good. Deserve is a very good manager, according in my opinion, and also the reinforcements of having to bring in Van Eyck, Tonali. They brought in a very. They had their reinforcement was really good. The striking was being led by Richarlison throughout the entire preseason, who I do not fancy as much, but he did come up with 3 goals. Van Hak had the goal as well, goal involvement as well. But it's a team that I believe is going to be solid because with the involvement of Mateus Fernandez in midfield, Tonali, then obviously the new defensive partnership. That is why most of us are actually going for Kinski because he's nailed in goal and he has a very good price. So I do believe uh, Spurs should be looking very good as well this season. And it's a team that we should, because Van Hake and his defensive contributions, Defcons, are always very good for us in Brighton, and we wait to see how that evolves in his new role and in his new team. Hull City, like I mentioned, is a team that is starting off with Manchester United, and it is a team to target. It's a team to target. That's why I believe those that are tripling up on Manchester United, I truly understand. And these players are really to avoid. For those of us that have played FPL as long as I have, McBurney was a person that did appear well long before I think when Sheffield was in the Premier League, and he was one of those on and off strikers, I would say. But yeah, sometimes he would come in as a differential pick. But yeah, he comes back in Hull City. But really, all their players to me are players to really completely avoid. And it's the team that we should target. That whichever team is playing against them, really, we need to reinforce on more of their assets so that we can target the easy points against Hull City. Lastly, I think I'm going to go through how the opening fixtures are starting and how they are going. The fixture tracker to make sure you get to know who has the best starting fixtures and all that, and how it will pan out. Like I always advise to be able to limit the transfers and hits in FPL as a tip for the new FPL players. Always at least target to have a team that is going to play 3 to 4 game weeks without you having to rotate, so that you can be able to save up your transfers. Then maybe you can either come in game 4, game 5, and now begin using your transfers to make the team change up a bit. So when we look at the fixture tracker, Man City is at the top. Its fixtures start off very well with Bournemouth, which has lost a couple of players as well. Crystal Palace, which is still losing because we get to know Munoz may be on his way out. Mateta hasn't played at all in the preseason. Then they play Coventry. Then by the time of game week 4 is when they get to play Manchester United away. Then Liverpool and comes in. Then they obviously go back to Ipswich and Aston Villa. My Arsenal is in second position, starts off with a very good fixture, but then they go to 2 London derbies, then back to Sunderland and Brighton, and then Leeds. Then we have Manchester United, which starts off with the best 2 fixtures, like I mentioned, Hull City and Ipswich. So those are to be targeted. Liverpool is good in there. Like I mentioned, Newcastle is not a threat as much to me because of the new management and the new changes and all the different important critical players that they have lost. They do get into Nottingham Forest and Ipswich after that. Chelsea is on its way and all that. So these are some of the best fixtures that are starting the season, at least from game week 1 to game week 8, the top 10 teams that, in my opinion. Uh, like I mentioned, come Wednesday, I'll give a guide on how all of this has affected my current team. I'll be sharing my new team, and most of you will be surprised because there's quite a lot of changes that are coming up. So remember to like, to subscribe, and share, and also give comments. Let me know how your team is faring up. Give me questions on what you're thinking about preseason and how it's probably shaping your current team. And then I'll catch you next time. Otherwise, all the best. God bless you all. Thank you.